To go boldly. What does that mean? Well, it means different things to different people. For us, it meant doing something outside our comfort zone, something that we'd always dreamed of, but were afraid to do. Now, we didn't always go boldly, not at all. We did what was expected of us. We met, got married, bought a home, and raised 2 children. Len was pumping gas for $2 an hour, and I was a receptionist, also making minimum wage. This was the norm then. Life was good, but not great.
Okay, so I knew working at a gas station, pumping gas, and raising a family wasn't going to quite cut it. So I did what any good son would do. I went to see my parents and I borrowed money. That's right. And we started our own cable contracting company. And we ran that for about 25 years. It was very successful in the Toronto region. And in the late 90s, we decided we were going to sell the company. So now I had lots of free time. I could fix all those little things around the house that needed fixing. I golfed every day. We went on vacation. I think I sat on every beach known to man. You know, it was great at first, but after a while, it became mundane. We didn't have any purpose in our life. So we were looking for a challenge, but I think the biggest thing that happened, our lives became totally predictable. We knew exactly what we were going to be doing 10 years from now. We were going to be on the same golf courses or sitting on the same beaches. So fortunately, one day, I was at a business lunch with 2 gentlemen from California, and they had been mountain climbing. And this really intrigued me. I needed some excitement in my life. So I decided at the lunch that I was going to go to Kilimanjaro, go on safari, and while I was there, I was going to climb Kilimanjaro. Now, why did I pick Kilimanjaro? It was the only mountain I'd ever heard of. So at the time, I was 50 pounds heavier, smoked cigars, I certainly drank my share of rum, and I seldom exercised. So people that knew me thought I was completely out of my mind. I wasn't outdoorsy or athletic at all. And just to prove that point, that's the old Len. So you can see I'm a little chubbier there. I got a cigar in one hand. There's a Coke in that other hand, but I'm sure it's got rum in it. And I'm driving the boat with no hands, just to top it off. Anyway, off I went. That was in June 2001, and I managed the summit. It was the hardest physical thing I'd ever done in my life. And while I was there, I heard of this challenge called the 7 Summits. So in order to do the 7 summits, you have to climb the highest mountain on each continent. I thought, this would be great. This would keep me challenged for at least 5 years. I put together a little game plan. I thought, you know, I'll start with the easiest ones first, and I'll work my way up to Everest. I never really thought I'd actually get to Everest. It was just kind of a dream.
Now, while Len is going through these adventures, I found myself dealing with a lot of feelings and emotions. He was seeing spectacular things and having so much fun and traveling, and I was envious. And to be honest, I was resentful. So one morning over breakfast, as he was sharing his plans to go to Nepal and climb Everest, I found the courage to say, I'd like to go, but I'm 56 years old and I've never done anything like that in my life before. I don't think I can. Len's comment to me changed my life. He said, come with me, Liz. You don't know what you can do until you try. Simple statement, right? But actually very powerful, because you don't know what you can do until you try. He was right. Soon after, I was up at 4 a.m. every day, off to the gym, preparing for my new adventure. I was so excited at the opportunity to go to Everest. In May 2006, we traveled together to Kathmandu and started our journey. A 14-day trek up Everest through beautiful mountain villages, seeing spectacular scenery. Sometimes dodging unruly yaks as we went higher and higher into elevation, climbing over treacherous bridges till I finally reached my goal, Everest Base Camp, 17,500 feet, over halfway. I was elated. I was a new person.
Okay, she was doing fine. Her fears were gone, but, but mine were just beginning. I had completed 6 of the 7 summits, and now I was standing at the base of Everest, and I was thinking to myself, what the heck am I doing here? Why would I put myself through 9 weeks of misery to climb this mountain? And that little voice in my head was going off, and it kept saying, you know, you're not strong enough. You didn't train hard enough for this. You're too old. You should just do the right thing, quit, and go home. Then I thought to myself, if I do that, I'm going to regret that decision for the rest of my life. So off I went. My first challenge, the first day out of base camp. The Kumba Ice Falls. Now they're probably the most treacherous part on Everest. It's like a big river of ice that's flowing. It moves about 6 to 8 feet a day. So to get from the base camp to Camp 1, you're crossing 20 to 25 ladders a day with crevasses 200 to 300 feet deep. And these are aluminum house ladders. Sometimes there's 5 of them tied together in a row, and they're just tied up with rope. And the problem I had with this, my biggest fear, other than public speaking, is heights. So I'm terribly afraid of heights. This is shot just off the Lhotse face. Next problem is altitude. So I'm about 25,000 feet here. And the oxygen level at about 25,000 feet is about 25% of what it is at sea level. So to put that into perspective of how that feels, if you could picture yourself jogging on a treadmill, holding your nose closed, and put a straw in your mouth, and breathe through that straw. That's what that feels like at 25,000 feet. Now this would be summit day. And what's unusual about summit day when you're climbing is you usually leave at night. So for Everest, you'll leave around 10 o'clock at night, and your goal is to get close to the summit when the sun is rising because of the weather changes. So you can see here, we're probably an hour and a half away from the summit. You can see the summit right at the very top there. There's actually some people standing on it. And the sun is just coming up over the side of the mountain. And this is a shot at, excuse me, I don't know how many of you heard of this, at the Hillary Step. So the Hillary Step is only a 20 or 30 foot vertical climb, but you've been climbing now for 12 hours. You're totally exhausted. It's minus 35. Many people stop right here. They don't make it up the Hillary Step. But I knew once I got up the Hillary Step, it's only 20 minutes to the summit. And this is a shot from the summit. It's breathtaking, isn't it? We were lucky. We had a crystal clear day. So here I am, 56 years old, and standing on top of the world. Now, well, the challenge here was, now I had to get down. So, you know, while I was on Everest, I met a couple, and they were doing something called the Grand Slam. So I'd never heard of this before, and I needed a new adventure anyway, so I asked them, what is the Grand Slam? Well, they said, you know, to complete the Grand Slam, you have to finish the 7 summits, so put a big check mark there, and ski to the North and South Pole. I thought, well, I've never cross-country skied before, but I'm going to give it a shot. But I thought, before I do this, before I sign up, I better do a little research. So I called a group that had been there the year before, and they said it was a hard trip, but it wasn't really that cold. I thought, oh, I'm in for sure. So anyway, off I went. And I don't know, but I think minus 30 to minus 60 Celsius every day sleeping in a tent. I thought it was really, really cold. I think they lied to me. So I managed to complete this in January of 2012. The next thing on my bucket list was to complete the 4 Deserts Challenge. I'm going to read this. Excuse me. The 4 Deserts Challenge is recognized as being the world's leading endurance foot race and is named by Time magazine as the ultimate test of human endurance. So at the age of 58, I started training for it. I remember my first run. I left the house. I thought I did pretty well. I came back and thought, I'm going to get in the car and just see how far it was. 2.2 kilometers. I had a lot of work to do. The race was only 4 months away. So just to give you a little insight on the 4 deserts and what you have to do there. To run one of the races, it's 250 kilometers over 6 days. It's 40 kilometers the first day, 40 the second, 40 the third, 40 the fifth, or the fourth, and the 5th day is a 90-kilometer run. And it's totally self-supported, and that means you have to carry all your food, all your safety gear, and any other items that you may bring along the way, your clothing, on your back. And your pack usually weighs about 28 pounds. It's like carrying a small child the entire length of the race. And just to make it more challenging, they place these races on the hottest, driest, windiest, and coldest places on Earth. And you would think that all that you might be running on flat roads or paved roads. No. You're running over mountains, through rivers, over sand dunes. Some of them were 800 feet high. I had no idea. I thought a sand dune was like 20 feet high. No. And in temperatures, when we were in the races, the temperatures ranged between plus 54 degrees Celsius to minus 30. In one of the races in the Gobi, it actually got so hot that the glue on the runners' running shoes was melting and their shoes fell apart, so they couldn't finish the races. So where are these races located? Well, the Gobi is located in China. I love this shot. That's one of the 800-foot sand dunes. The Atacama is located in Chile. You can see by the terrain what I'm talking about. It's never flat. And of course you have the Sahara in Egypt. And the last one, I guess you've guessed it, is located in the Antarctic. So I managed to complete, also in 2012, the 4 Desert Challenge.
Well, and now how are our lives changed? Well, for me, that one statement, you don't know what you can do till you try, has taken me all corners of the world on so many expeditions. And to name a few, I have been able to ride across Mongolia through the interior on horseback. I'd never been on a horse in my life. I have trekked the Atacama Desert. I have trekked the Gobi Desert. I have trekked to Everest Base Camp. I have snowshoed across the Antarctic Peninsula. And most recently, for my 60th birthday, I climbed and summited Mount Kilimanjaro. Thank you. And there's so many possibilities. Life is endless, right? But for Len, my inspiration, Len, as mentioned, is the only person in the world, actually, to climb the 7 summits, ski to the North Pole, and to complete the 4 Desert Challenge. And ladies and gentlemen, in closing, we would like to leave you with this thought. Follow your dreams. Go boldly. Life should be an adventure. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.